All right, everybody, I have a special guest here, and I am so excited. I've had a slight conversation with Mike McDaniels from the Sea Adventure 80. And Mike, good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you.
We're actually in the wheelhouse of the horizon because you're doing so much work over there on the other boat, right?
That's right. We're doing maintenance. We're putting in new fuel tanks. We got our brand new engines in last June. So we'll be 100% and ready to go for the seasons to come.
Now, listen, before we go any further, because there's so much I want to dig into with you. There's so many interesting things about you. You and I are kind of alike, but right up front here, how can people book on the Sea Adventure 80 so they don't have to go looking through this entire podcast? Let's get it up front. Do they go to a website? Do they call a number?
Super easy. Get a hold of H&M Landing. You can either go online at hmlanding.com and search the Sea Adventure 80, or you guys can call 619-222-1144 and ask for the Sea Adventure 80. And those guys will take care of you. We have trips this year from 1 day to 5 days. Target species. Beginning of the season, freelance, we're going to go for what's biting. But our main aim for the end of the season is big bluefin. That's our game this year.
Are you hearing anything, by the way, interesting so far
I've
this year?
I've heard a little bit of talk about bluefin. I've heard a little bit talk about the longfin tuna offshore.
What have you heard about that?
Commercial boats are catching it west of the San Juan.
Really?
Yeah, it's a little far still. I think a couple years.
But that's further down this way than it's been for a while.
That's right.
Dude, breaking Albacore news.
Oh, yeah.
Can I come over and hug and kiss you right now? Hey, do you have green on, by the way? It's St. Patrick's Day. Do I need to come over there and pinch you?
We'll do that later.
We'll turn the camera off for that. Part of the reason you and I are doing this right now is your lovely wife, Maggie.
Yes, sir.
I hit it off with her on the Mahi-mahi. She was a galley cook.
That's right.
And you mentioned, and I'm going to talk to her after this, see what she thinks. I would love to put her in charge of our Friedman Adventures youth, like doing videos to explain to kids about the ocean's environment. She does a lot of that, right? She studied that in college, I think.
She did marine biology in college and segued for a while trying to get a degree to be a doctor, and now she's segued back. Once you've started sport fishing, it's hard to stay away.
No matter what your position in life is, right?
No matter what your position in life is, you'll see captains go, and then they come back.
Yeah.
So we're both here. She's here educating the kids, and I'm out here teaching crew to become captains. It's a stepping stone in life, whether they stay in sport fishing or move on.
Mike, when I was a kid, 12 years old, I was a pinhead on the Redondo Special, and some old guy came up to me and said, once you get it in your blood, you'll never get it out. And that's exactly what you're saying.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I joined the Navy. I walked away from this. Joined the Navy. 4 years later, walking back in it. And I've been here ever since.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Deeply appreciate that. So, we're going to come back, and we're going to talk Sea Adventure 80, and we're going to talk bluefin tuna, and we're going to talk kelp patty, whatever, Dorado yellows and all that stuff. I got to hear a little bit about you spent some time in Egypt. And when I said you and I are kind of the same, you know, I get antsy sometimes, and I just drop everything, and I go like, I'm going to China. Like, I want something different. I don't speak the language. I don't understand the culture that well. You wake up every morning, there's a different smell, different sounds. You sound like you're kind of attracted to that.
I am. It's a little bit of a culture shock, but it's a lot of fun. And it's basically what a lot of guys do here in the wintertime. If we don't have a lot of boat work to do, we go out and we try and get in the marine industry somewhere else. There's plenty of captains down here that are also tugboat captains, crew boat captains, and we just move from sport fishing to the next boat, and then we'll come back. So 2008, I went to Egypt. I was there for quite a while, and I was running tugs out to oil rigs and crew boats out to oil rigs, basically a supply boat and crew boat. And when we had off time, we had fishing time.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
So tell me about the fishing. I understand you can't use a rod and reel there. Is that right?
When we were there was no rod and reel allowed. I mean, there wasn't much out there stopping you from doing so, but we followed the rules because we didn't want to get in trouble. So it was all hand line, and we didn't have much to go off of. Fishing line out there, good luck.
So what did you do?
I ordered an industrial spool of weed whacker mono, the big stuff. It was like 500 pound, and we had it all wrapped around chunks of 2x4s. I had brought out a whole suitcase of jigs and not enough clothes. And we came out and we did work. Blackfin tuna, grouper.
And you're freaking hand lining?
it.
How bitchin' is that?
That is awesome. I got a 200+ pound Nile perch. Took 3 guys to get it over the rail.
What the hell?
It was amazing.
Wow. That is an amazing feat.
Amazing.
Wow.
But I mean, as a captain out here, you gotta experience more than just this.
Yeah.
You know, try something new. Every ocean's a little bit different. It's an adventure for one. Plus 2, fishing's amazing.
Yeah.
You can't beat it.
Did you ever get spooled on those? I mean, did it ever get you down
yeah,
where you just throw the wood overboard? You're done?
You throw your jig out and you're going to pull it in fast. So you're pulling it in, and you get bit. And either you can yank on it and then get it in, and it would just keep coming. But if you ever let it turn its head, you'd be holding on and then it would just burn right through you. And then there goes your piece of wood. But since we had it tied off to a piece of wood and it wasn't too deep where we were, 80 feet max, down in the Gulf of Suez there, we just drive around for a little bit. There's our piece of wood, go get it and start pulling on it again.
Oh, wow.
So we had chances to get it again, but yes, there was a loss.
So you caught this 200-pound Nile perch. What other species? Did you catch stuff you're like, what the hell is that?
I have probably 30 or 40 photos of fish that I probably spent 6 or 7 months looking online trying to find them.
And you can't figure out what they are?
Can't figure out what they are. A lot of it's coral fish. There's a lot of reefs out there. Yeah. Shaped like a sheephead, but green, yellow.
Yeah.
You know, just different. And they didn't know what they were, but they were delicious.
Oh, man, that is so awesome. And how about the guys that you were fishing with? You introduced them to jig fishing, I'm sure, right?
I introduced them to fishing, period. Those guys.
Were they blown away?
They absolutely loved it. I mean, the first time I walked down the pier to the tug that I was running, you'd see bait fish and squid swimming around the boat at night, and you'd see these guys out there with like a colander for pasta, and they're trying to sneak down there and scoop them up, and they might get one, and that instantly goes in the galley. But the day that I took one of those away from them and put it on a hook, and they were shocked. You're going to use my dinner for bait? Well, we caught grouper. We had grouper for dinner, and that just changed the entire game. Every time they came into work, they had hooks, they had line, they had jigs, bobbers, you name it. They were ready.
That is
absolutely ready.
So cool. How did you find Egyptians in general, as a people, and the culture and the food? How was all of that?
I want to say everybody I met, which I did spend 4 or 5 days walking around Egypt and all of Cairo and checking out, doing the tourist thing, went to the pyramids. Friendliest people on earth. Hands down. It was kind of almost scary how friendly they were. If you were walking around, I got lost in Cairo. I left my hotel, no map. I saw a pyramid. I'm going to walk there. It looks like it's 45 minutes away. No street signs. Everything looks the same. Every building, it looks the same. And I got lost, and I knocked on this door, and
knocked on some person's door.
And they grabbed my arm and pulled me in, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to die. And they sat me down. They called the U.S. Embassy. They made me dinner. Then the one thing they want to do is talk politics.
Yeah.
And, I'm not a huge politics guy. I'm a fishing guy. But they were the nicest people on the planet.
That is a great story.
Hands down.
Wow. That is an amazing story. And you talk about you and I the same. Most of the time, like when I was in Vietnam, I don't have a game plan. I walk out the door and I just start walking, and you can feel when you get into that bad neighborhood.
Oh, yeah.
Then you turn around and go the other way. But I didn't hit any of those, and I just I'm walking along and I find this or I find that or find some bitchin' street food, and just doing that is such an amazing adventure every day.
That's right. A lot of people think it's scary because it's different. It's new to them, so they get a little intimidated by it. But almost I'd say every country I've been to has been just hands down perfect experience. I couldn't tell you which one's the best one.
Yeah.
I couldn't pick one.
I have a hard time with that too. I really do.
I would go back to all of them.
I'm going to another country right when I'm done with you now.
Where are you going?
Shooting across the border. I got to go
good.
down. I'm promoting a hotel down there, so I'm going to go meet with them. And then if I'm not, you'll come down and bail me out if I'm in the TJ prison, won't you?
We'll come get you.
Okay, perfect. Because I want to come back for a day at the docks and harass you some more.
Very nice.
Any other place you've mentioned, but any other wild fishing adventures in another country?
Another country? No,
The Egypt thing is so intriguing.
We did Alaska for the first time last year.
Yeah.
And it was spur of the moment, middle of the season. I need a break. I'm going.
I remember that, I think.
And that was amazing.
Yeah?
It was amazing. We do the cruise ship thing. I get off of a boat and I go on vacation on a boat. That's what I love to do. Okay? You can't keep me away from the water.
Yeah.
So we went up and did the Alaska thing. We went to a couple ports and we stopped and fished in Skagway and Ketchikan. And it's just, there's so much rockfish and salmon to be had. It's ridiculous.
And it's picturesque, isn't it? Isn't it
And
beautiful?
it's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
7-day cruise up there. You wake up in the morning and there's an iceberg floating by your window.
Oh my God.
You know, oh, it looks beautiful. I'm going to go outside, open the door. Nope, close the door. You know, it was, even though it was midsummer here, it was really cold, but it was a blast. Maggie had probably 15 or 20 rockfish, and I had 15 or 20 rockfish. Now, you know, we kept a couple. Most of it went back. But we did get a chance at the very end. We saw salmon on the surface, so we went over and threw jigs at salmon. We got a few salmon as well. So it was something I'd do again. I'd leave tomorrow if I had the chance.
I just have to go back to the hand line thing in Egypt one more time. It's so primal, right? To get that.
Is.
I mean, when I used to work on the search or whatever, and you pull a boat line.
Yep.
That's cool.
That's
feels,
cool.
but to freaking be, you're kind of pulling the jig to the water, and then you get
bit.
bit.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's almost like, it's basically like having the boat line on the stern, but never tying it off to anything.
Yeah.
The only thing stopping the fish is you going in the water, basically. So you're holding on for dear life. But it's full speed, it's technique. You really got to get those arms moving fast to get it in. And once you get it in, I mean, you'll watch those fish swim up behind it. Oh, I need to come in a little slower. Throw it back out, come in a little bit slower, and they'll bite it.
Wow, amazing. Any top jigs that you want to plug out there?
What
were good?
I don't remember the name of the
Did it
jig.
matter? Yeah.
It didn't really matter.
Was it a heavy jig? I'm assuming it's like a yo-yo iron, or?
They're the old long-range jigs. I just took a bunch because I had them.
Yeah.
I took Taddies, I took Salises. I threw everything, and everything worked. But most of the grouper we caught were down underneath the oil rigs, down on the legs, and we were using, I think were they Johnson jigs? They're big silver bars. It looked like the golf ball pattern.
Yeah, that sounds right.
They're Johnson jigs. And I just so happened to have a bunch of them, so I threw them all in the suitcase and took out some clothes, and it worked out. I took way too much tackle.
Not enough clothes. That's a true fisherman, Mike. We honor you.
That is.
Hey, let's bring it back here now to the Sea Adventure 80. Let's talk a little bit about, let's just give me the dimensions of the boat and talk about what she does. You know, do you fish 1 day? Do you fish 3 days? What do you do?
Good.
Yeah.
So we are the Sea Adventure 80. We are 80 feet long, 25 feet wide, and we do 1 to 5 day trips. My main goal this year and for next year is 2.5 and above. I like that little bit of extra fishing time, especially if day one's slow.
Yeah. Yeah, it just gives you so many more options, doesn't it?
It does. It saves the day. Or if you load up on the first day and you want to go fish a second species 100 miles away, you have that opportunity.
Like those albacore.
That's right. We'll see if I get a wild hair. Maybe on one of my 4 or 5 days we'll go for a peak, but it's a long way still for us.
Yeah.
250 miles.
Are you feeling more optimistic than you have in a long time about albacore?
Albacore, I think if the water continues this trend of being cold this time of year, I think maybe in the next 3 or 4 years we'll have a chance.
Yeah. Not this year?
I don't think it's going to happen this year.
Yeah.
I bet you every single year there's been a boat that caught one.
Yeah.
And we had
New Loan had one last
the
year.
New
I
Loan
think.
had one last year. The Producer had one the year before
Yeah.
that. Intrepid boat went up to Fort Bragg.
Yeah,
They caught a couple, I believe.
yeah, they did.
We saw some last year way northwest. We went up above Santa Cruz, and we saw a couple schools of it. We did not have the bait for it.
Yeah,
We tried everything. I wish we had those little anchovy
yeah. Oh
scampies.
God, yeah.
But
Oh, shoot.
unfortunately, we didn't have the right gear for it, so we just continued on bluefin fishing up there.
Yeah,
I think if the water trends cold the next couple years, it's going to hurt us a little bit. It'll force us to late season yellowfin, late season dorado, but it'll give us that opportunity to get our species back.
yeah.
This industry was a complete different animal when we had wide open albacore.
Yeah,
every
absolutely.
day.
Meaning what? So the guy out there that's listening, because I get this all the time, Mike. I pine away like, oh, I missed the albacore. You know, and guys are like, why do you miss those dumb 18 to 25 pound fish when we've got 300 pounders now? I don't get it.
So
can you help me explain this?
I can't exactly, and I'm going to give it to you from both points.
Yeah.
Both the passenger standpoint and from my end, i.e. the business owner standpoint. I take 28 passengers out, and we'll go pull on a big bluefin. It might take 4 to 6 hours to land.
Yeah.
Depending on the experience level. And we take a lot of new people out that have never caught a 200 pounder, let alone a 50 pound bluefin.
Right.
And so we'll go out and we'll catch 4 or 5, and we might lose 1 or 2. And that's it. Trip's over, going home. We got 5. So I got 23 passengers that are going home with nothing.
Right.
They spent all that money to come out. They might not even hooked one. You know, the chances are minimal. What I like to do is on albacore, let alone it could be yellowfin tuna, dorado, yellowtail, all those species, or even the smaller bluefin. Go down, find a good school, sit on it, get limits for all 28 passengers. Everybody's going home happy. Everybody's got fish. They had a great experience.
All that action.
And then for the business owner standpoint, those customers are going to want to come back.
Absolutely.
When I go out and catch one fish, yes, it's a 200 pounder, but
18 people of the
Yeah.
19 are like, God darn it, I didn't get anything.
that wasn't any fun. That
Yeah.
guy got the fish for 4 hours and I didn't.
Yeah.
So I do prefer fishing that smaller grade fish. Our longer trips are going to try and do both. I have 4 days, 5 days, and what we're going to do is offer 2.5 days of each species. So we'll do tropical fish or kelp patty fish, depending, for the first 2 days, then bomb it out to the bluefin grounds and end it out on bluefin.
What a great game plan. I love that, man. That is a great way to approach this.
If you don't have the opportunity to hook your super tuna or your trophy or your first big bluefin, at least you're going to be taking something home.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You mentioned, you get new anglers out there.
Yes, we do.
And I'm guessing you welcome them on board. And I've heard from other people, now this is just what I've heard, and I'm hoping you'll affirm it, that you walk on the Sea Adventure 80 and it's the kind of crew that says, oh, you're new? Hey, let me teach you. Come here, let me show you how. As opposed to, in the old days when I was a deckhand, like, oh man, we got these ducks on here that don't know what they're doing.
No, I'm not going to point you right out and say you're new. I will come out, talk to you, introduce myself. My entire crew will. We'll pull you aside, ask you questions, see what you know, what you need to know, and help you out the best we can. But we also, not only do we get new people, but a lot of my return guys, they love it so much and they're super helpful that they'll actually come out and either hook in hand, or if I have, you got a guy that's new, was told, oh, you only need one rod. He brought one rod, and it happens a lot, one rod. That's okay. A lot of my guys are friendly, plus we have some gear on the boat that will make sure that you're ready to go. I had a trip last year, last minute. We were already, manifest was at the top of the dock. We're about to pull out. 2 guys pull up. We want to buy tickets to go. So we waited an extra 10 minutes. We had already pre-baited, so we were okay. Got these guys down on the boat. And man, they did not bring the right gun to that fight. We were going on big bluefin trip.
And they got a couple of spinning reels or something?
Yes.
Yeah, I can hear it already.
And even though they had caught big fish in their life, it is much different catching a 100-pound catfish in a 10-foot pond than it is a 100-pound bluefin in the ocean that has no bottom.
Yeah, exactly.
And we did have some issues, but we let them try. They wanted to try. We want to use our own gear. We gave them that opportunity. And once they realized, oh man, it's kind of hard, we brought down the big guns, handed them big 2-speeds on tuna rods, and they were both able to get big fish.
How
so it was really cool.
Yeah.
But we're the family boat. We want you guys to come out. We want you guys to have fun. We're going to be there every step of the way for you. And we will try our best to get you guys on fish every day.
And that doesn't always happen. There's some things you can't control. But, I mean, just this conversation I'm having with you, I can see what a nice guy you are. You're very conscientious about your passengers. The things that you can control, the food, the courtesy of the crew and all that, sounds like you've got that just nailed down.
We are trying our best. And I've worked on almost every boat down here in the fleet growing up. And I've seen what I need to do to be either one step ahead or just as good as everybody else, including some of the long-range guys. So we are trying our hardest to make everybody's experience the best experience they can have.
When's your first trip? When do you start running?
My first trip is May 10th.
So you're off a little ways.
We are off a little bit.
Yeah.
We've got a decent project going on.
Yeah. So, you've got a project. Are people coming down for a day at the docks? You're not going to be ready for that, right?
Unfortunately, we won't be open. I've got about a 12-foot hole on my back deck open.
I know.
I don't want any permanent customers.
I called my wife when you told me that, and she said, "Oh, go ahead and go on board. Just double the life insurance before you jump on there." So I said,
no, but we will be down here. We'll either be up near the H&M landing booth, or we'll be down here next to the boat. Information, whatnot, you may be able to find me down by the Hands on Deck guys. They're going to be doing a collaboration with us this year. So
nice.
I'll be floating around. I will be here.
Great. So people can find you and come and talk to you. After this, I know you're going to have a lot of new fans because it's really impressive. I know you can't predict, but how do you see this season laying out? Do you see us? Let's just talk about your season, May, or you can talk. I mean,
we'll talk this season.
Okay,
that's easy
go ahead.
For me.
Yeah, great.
This season, right now with the low 50s water temp this time of year, I'm thinking preseason. So before we start running, it's going to be full speed yellowtail colonet with rock cod. We're already getting that yellowtail at the Coronados.
Yep. And they've been getting it just 20 miles down at San Martin and down that way.
Now, when they start catching the smaller grade yellowtail at Colonet and the smaller grade yellowtail at Coronados, we know that the kelp fish have moved in. So if those kelp fish move in, we know we're going to have an outstanding May, an outstanding June on yellowtail. Most of those fish, the smaller grade pelagic yellows, they all move in on kelps and they stop. They hit the islands. They hit our lower banks and they hang out. So if we can get those fish here, then we're going to have a great early season on yellowtail. I've heard rumors and talking to friends of mine that are rod and reel bluefin guys. They are catching bluefin in between Clemente and the butterfly already.
Oh, shoot. That's good news.
Smaller grade, 90 pounders.
Yeah.
Almost perfect. They need to be about 50.
Yeah, right. You want them a little smaller.
You can stack a lot of 50 pounders on a boat.
Yeah, exactly.
Bluefin, mid-season, June, July. And my favorite thing to fish is that yellowtail spawn on Cortez Bank.
Oh,
so
God,
you will find the Sea Adventure 80 on the long trips out at Cortez in July. We had a few fabulous years out there in July.
Extraordinary fishing, right? Big fish.
30 to 60 pound yellowtail.
Wow.
We had one that was almost, I think it was 66 and a half pounds.
Get out of here.
Surface iron fishing, full speed.
Man. I love fishing Cortez.
That bluefin, it is a challenge. It comes and goes, but it never really leaves. So all it takes is us as a fleet working together to stay on it.
Yeah.
And we could have an outstanding bluefin year across the board. These yellowfin with this colder water now, I think it's going to be a late yellowfin. I think it's going to be an August, September, October yellowfin.
Uh-huh. And
Same
there
with
is
the
an El
Dorado.
Nino brewing down around the equator
There
now.
is,
Right?
there is one down there, but the push we had last year and the year before, this time of year the water was about 8 degrees warmer, which it could just be this weather we're getting now. Could change. We'll have to see.
Yeah. And you omitted talking about the albacore. You did say you didn't think, but I'm going to push you on a little bit more because we do have that strong La Nina influence. And I know that 10C line last year was up there off Point Blanca.
Yep.
You know all this. And now it's off San Francisco. So it's moved 350 miles down this way. Maybe not enough, but pretty interesting.
It's
Food for thought,
interesting.
right?
It's food for thought. Now with albacore, just like any other species, not only do you need the water temp, but you need the fish food.
Yeah, right. You need chovy or
So you need cold water.
yeah, exactly.
So what we've seen at our bait receivers the last few years, sardine, sardine, sardine,
Yeah.
sardine, maybe a scoop of chovy.
Yeah.
Last year, that little bit of chovy saved us on that bluefin when it was on chovy only.
Yeah. Right.
When we start seeing full receivers of chovy, I'll call you up and tell you we're going on exploratory albacore. But until then, we're going to be fishing bluefin, yellowfin, yellowtail, and dorado.
Wow. I'll tell you what, I have heard people lay out the season before, but not as. That was awesome. That and who knows whether it's going to come true or not, but
Yeah.
man, you are a very knowledgeable guy. You are. I can see that you study this, that you are serious about this, right?
Yeah, what I like to do too, and it helps my junior guys a lot, is I'll lay a chart down on a table in the galley at the end of the season, pull out 5 or 6 colored highlighters, and we'll take our plotter and where we're seeing things every day, and we'll track the movement of these fish up the line, down the line, out to the west. Oh, they came back in. Same with kelps. So each color is a different thing, and we got it down to a science last year. We did it a couple times. Last year we were able to know, okay, I fished that kelp, say on the 60-mile bank yesterday. I could turn around and say to one of my deckhands, where's it going to be tomorrow? And they can walk up the chart and say it's going to be right there. And we drive right there, and there it is.
Are you kidding me? Wow.
So not only are we fishing every day and excelling and learning every day as a crew together at fishing, but they're learning the knowledge of my job, so that's their next step.
Yeah.
I would love to have Connor, which is my newest captain. This will be his second year as a captain. He's been with me for 9 years, started when he was 12 as a pinhead, come out a little bit. I can't wait for him to take the reins and tell me, it's time for you to go home.
Give you a break, huh?
I don't really want the break, but I think he's ready.
Yeah.
I just think I know he can do it.
How did you meet Connor?
I was in the Navy, and his dad was stationed on the same base as me, didn't know it. And Maggie was in school, marine biology, and she was also taking a few, I think it was like a nursing doctor's courses as well.
Yeah.
And his mom was in that class. She didn't know it.
What a
It
coincidence.
turns out we lived in the same neighborhood, basically on the same street. And I had just gotten out of the Navy, got hurt, and I had a walker, so I basically had to learn how to walk again.
Wow.
Maggie would drive me down to the end of the street and drop me off and make me walk home. But I wouldn't have done it myself. I was lazy. I was tired. I was hurt. She'd,
Tough love.
Hey, we're going to go somewhere. Hop in the car. I'd get in the car, and then she'd stop and kick me out. So I'd sit by the pond for a while and just watch this kid fish, and man, he never caught a thing.
He sucked.
He sucked. And I changed that. I taught him how to sight bass and bowfin, and then it moved from that to kayak fishing, and I taught him how to fish eddies and which side of the sandbar at certain tides and deep holes for the bigger redfish in Florida. And it just stuck, and he got really good at it, and he's taking people out, and he wants to go buy his own boat and do East Coast sport fishing during the wintertime and West Coast sport fishing during the summertime.
How great.
It is just, transformed into a mini me, which is outstanding.
Oh my God. But that meeting him and seeing him be so futile at fishing, and then you coached him along, and now at some point you envision that he's going to take over the reins of the Sea Adventure 80.
I do.
What a fulfillment of your being a tutor,
Oh,
a
yeah.
mentor, and him being a good student at the
That's
same time.
right.
It's great.
And it just turns out for other people too. If you want to come into this industry, it's not a scary industry to get into. You can walk the docks. Day at the docks would be a good one because most of us boat owners are here. If you want to try it out, come down and talk to us. If you don't know it, we'll teach it. If you want to try it, why not give it a shot?
That sounds fantastic.
It's a great stepping stone to other things.
Yes, yes. But you'll never get it out of your blood.
That's right. Once you step on the boat, you're never leaving.
Mike, I don't know anybody out there who watched this podcast who wouldn't want to go fishing with you. I certainly do. I can't wait. I'm really excited. You're an exciting, enthusiastic, smart. You've got all these experiences, handlines in Egypt. Man, this was a fabulous podcast.
Well, I appreciate it. It's good having you down here with me as well. And we want you to come fishing with us. We'd love to see everybody else as well.
And one more time, the contact info. Let everybody know out there.
H&M Landing. You can either go on their website at hnmlanding.com, search the Sea Adventure 80 under trips, or you can call H&M Landing at 619-992 619-222-1144.
Yeah.
And ask for the Sea Adventure 80 and they'll take care of you.
All right.
They'll get you out there either with us or what I like to do. Why don't you just come fishing with the fleet? Get on a boat, try it out. We're all working together in the summertime to continue running. It's not about me.
Yeah.
It's about my family, which is all these boats down here.
That's fantastic. Mike, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Good to see you.
Good stuff. How about some bonus Mike McDaniels? He talks about how he turned Connor into an integral part of the Sea Adventure 80 while he pays tribute to his father.
And look what they're doing. They're swimming down one side of the bank, and then when the sun changes a little bit, now there's shade pushing down from the trees, they're going to swim back over here. You want to cast right in front of them. And he started doing good. And I started taking him kayak fishing, and then I started filling his head with fishing dreams of this. And 12 years old, he came out for a couple weeks. And then 13, he came out for a couple weeks. And he's been with me for 9 years.
Wow.
He's got his license, and he's going to be running the boat part-time.
Congratulations. That's an awesome story.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm kind of doing like what my dad did. My dad trained Gavin, who's on the Queen. Jimmy, who's on the Ranger. I don't know if he's still there, but on the Ranger. Billy Santiago. That was a big one because he ran the RP for a long time.
Yeah.
My brother, me. I think there's almost 20.
So you had a model there, right?
Yeah.
Your dad, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And it was really cool because not only do I get to do what I love to do, which is fish, but I get to we're paving the way for the future.
Yes.
Like Maggie's doing the same thing. She's down there giving these kids hopes and dreams next door.
Yep.
I might get some of them as customers.
Yeah.
Plus, they get to see. We don't know what the world's going to be like in 10 years.
No, we really don't.
No.